his novel as an ebook has allowed him to fulfill his dream of becoming a published author, all from his hometown of North Bay. He did say, though, that he would one day like a paper copy of The Sacred Ash to keep on his bookshelf as sort of a trophy. Police say they are fully aware of the joyous nature of St. Patrick's Day, but they say it is no excuse. They want drinkers to plan for a sober driver just like they would any other day of the year. Some of the cyclists out here today told me paying attention to traffic and staying visible to drivers is how they stay safe on the road. Michelle, every year post-secondary students across the country raise money for cystic fibrosis through Shine-A-Rama. The Orr family is a big supporter of the fundraiser, so it was honored when the girls were asked to share their stories with students here on campus at the upcoming Shine-A-Rama Gala on Friday. Dr. Graham says this app can cut down on errors as well. If a patient needs care out of town or in an emergency, their current medications, allergies, and specialized care are listed and doctor validated. I spoke with a North Bay drug abuse counselor. She told me since March 1st, when OxyContin stopped being manufactured in Canada, the street price for the drug has doubled. She says users are now looking for other, cheaper highs, and that has police concerned. Carrie Trownson, CTV News, North Bay.
And now, the CTV News.
Good evening. It's good news for the people of Westry tonight. They're back in their homes just in time for the long weekend. Halfway between Sudbury and Timmins, about 200 people were evacuated Monday because of a forest fire. The Ministry of Natural Resources says that fire is under control, but it's telling the people of Westry if the winds change, they need to be ready to leave on a moment's notice. Warm and dry, it's exactly the kind of weather we want for the long weekend. There's just one problem. It's also perfect conditions for fires. And tonight there's a long list of municipal fire bans. The no-burn zone includes Greater Sudbury, Marks Stay Warren, Killarney, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins, and North Bay. It's a crime to breach the fire ban. That means no open-air burning and no fireworks. CTV's Gord Nichols has more.
Fireworks are a traditional part of the May-long weekend celebration, and they've been a red-hot fundraiser for the Valley East Kinsman Club over the years. Attendance at the two-day mining show in Timmins may be proof that the mining industry is surging along, but how long will it continue? CTV's Nikki Judy reports.
It's a billion-dollar industry, and expos like this only show a fraction of how big the worldwide mining industry has become.
Now here's Beverly Thompson with a quick look at who's in the Canada AM studios Friday morning.
Tomorrow on Canada AM, superstar Carrie Underwood will talk to her about her hot new album, Blown Away.
There's more to come here on the late edition. We'll have full weather details right after the break.
This was the scene late Saturday night as OPP snowmobiles head on to Trout Lake. Officers with the Traffic Reconstruction Unit and a coroner are trying to piece together just how that fatal collision happened. Police got the call a few minutes earlier from a nearby resident who heard screaming. Police say there were two snow machines involved. They were following each other. The lead snow machine was carrying a driver and a passenger, and the second, just a driver.
They described the conditions at the time as foggy. The second snowmobiler advised that they just came across a rock face, and the lead snow machine hit the rock face. And then he ended up following them in and also hitting the rock face.
16-year-old Jesse Folsom of Phelps Township was killed. A 14-year-old boy was taken to hospital, treated and released, while a 17-year-old boy remains in hospital with a broken leg.
We have conducted some interviews, but as you can imagine, the other two drivers were sent to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries at this point. So all of the interviews have not been taken yet, so we don't have a total grasp of it. We do know that they were on their way home or wherever their entry onto the lake was.
Police say they haven't determined what factors may have led to the collision, as it's still under investigation, but they did tell me that alcohol and drugs were not involved. Carrie Trownson, CTV News, North Bay. Water has been rushing through this dam for 60 years. On Wednesday, the province opened the gates for a guided tour of the facility.
We've invited media into Otto Holden Generating Station to provide a glimpse at our rich history while also giving a sense of the bright future that we have here in the community of Mattawa.
It stretches across the Ottawa River from Ontario to Quebec, producing clean, renewable energy every year. All of the hydro created here at the dam feeds the switchgears behind me for Hydro 1 and is then distributed to the grid to generate power for the rest of the province.
This station here at 240 megawatts can produce enough power to serve North Bay and Sudbury.
Located about 10 kilometers outside of Mattawa, it employs 24 full-time staff from the small town.
I consider myself very lucky to be able to come here with the professional people that I work with and what we do for the province, so it's great.
Dupra also sits on the town council. He says Otto Holden is a testament to the kind of industry this small town can support, and he hopes more industries will give the town a chance.
We hope that the Mattawa Bonfield Economic Development Agency, which is our driver right now, we have some things in the fire. We are getting a new Tim Hortons, or a Tim Hortons coming in soon, yes, and we have a few other things that are going on.
The dam is under tight security and is off limits to the public for safety reasons. But if you do want a closer look, the dam is open to the public every July during Voyageur Days. Carrie Trownson, CTV News, Mattawa. It's just another day at work for Mike Guimont, even though a forest fire burns just outside of his community.
It's kind of it's an eerie feeling, you try not to think about it, but if you do, you start to get a little emotional, and I've been there, I built the house myself, so I've been there for 33 years. So
He and his family were told to leave Sunday night and are on pins and needles waiting to find out when they can return.
Friday, the wind is supposed to shift from the northwest and gusting up to 60 kilometers an hour. If that happens, that whole 10-kilometer front could start moving back towards our houses at Goodfish Lake and back towards the town.
People in the community who are still in their homes say they know the threat of fire is real, but everyday life for many remains the same.
Well, the town is actually clear, and there's no smell in town, there's no smoke in town. It's actually just a nice summer day, actually. A little bit of a breeze.
But the people working at trying to control the fire situation know that can change in an instant.
So what we want people to know is, yes, the fire is still active and it's still classed as not under control. However, there's very limited open flame in there. We have air attack available if the fire decides to become very active again. The water bombers will be there in a heartbeat.
Tony, Michelle, those who have been evacuated say they are being updated daily but still don't know when they will be able to return home. Many of the people I spoke to today say they don't normally wish for rain heading into the weekend, but right about now they would love to see some. It has been a hard 10 days for the people of Kirkland Lake.
That's right, I was a nervous wreck. I was a nervous wreck last week.
On the first day of the fire, we could see it at the edge of the town, and it was like shooting up in the sky, and it was really nasty.
The state of emergency for this community has been lifted to the relief of many.
Oh, I feel a lot better now. A lot of people worried about it too, so.
Feel safer now.
The Ministry of Natural Resources now says it has the fire held.
We've already completed quite a bit of suppression, as well as the forecast for the next couple of days. We don't expect the fire to exceed in any size. We don't expect it to grow outside the boundaries that it's already established for itself.
But that doesn't mean these people are out of the woods just yet.
Unfortunately, the areas north of Nettie Lake remain closed. So those people with seasonal dwellings beyond Nettie Lake cannot go back there yet.
OPP have concluded that the forest fire was started by a campfire, even though a burning ban has been in effect since May 16th. Mayor Bill Enoy says he's happy the emergency has been lifted, but he's frustrated to know people are breaching fire bans so close to his community.
The results are obvious, anyone who doesn't think that you shouldn't obey those kind of rules is setting themselves up for a big-time failure and setting the whole town up for failure.
It's a lot to imagine that the town of Kirkland Lake could have disappeared. It could have burnt to the ground, all because someone had a careless campfire.
Tony, Michelle, while people here can start to relax, this state of emergency, police and the MNR say, has been a learning experience. They say people must respect that Crown land and lakes are off limits around Kirkland Lake while crews complete their work. They say people must also respect the fire ban because, as we've seen here, under the right conditions, a fire can get out of control quickly and burn dangerously close to home. Construction crews have been hard at work in Bonnie Porter's backyard since late Wednesday night. They were called in after a sinkhole suddenly opened up at this West Ferris housing complex. In fact, the sinkhole opened up right under Porter's feet.
I got the bikes moved and I got all the other, like the tires and whatnot, moved. After that, the ground gave way beneath me and I fell into the sinkhole.
Her friend and neighbor, Christine Bourgeois, watched it all happen.
And all of a sudden, it gave out from underneath her, and you couldn't even see her. She was gone, like just dropped. And me and my daughter and her friend stood there and just stared and yelled for help and tried to get her out of there. And two guys came and took her out, and it just filled up so fast, and you could see the ground falling in behind it. And it bubbling and bubbling, and within.
By mid-afternoon, crews got to the root of the problem, a broken water main. The leak has been fixed. All that's left now is to fill and pack the hole. The complex on Manitou Street is operated by the Nipissing District Housing Corporation. It's not the first time there's been trouble in the area. 18 units just a few hundred feet away were closed 2 years ago after the ground started to shift and sink.
There isn't any, we don't believe that there's any cause for concern at the moment. And we have staff who deal with tenants to answer their questions and keep them reassured that we're working at keeping them safe.
But it's going to take more than words to reassure Bonnie Porter.
I'm thinking that I'll probably be asking housing to get me a new unit because I don't want to be in that area anymore.
Michelle, residents here are definitely feeling stressed. They are concerned about deteriorating conditions at this aging complex. Things like uneven floors and crooked cupboards. Tenants are concerned more units might eventually be shut down, forcing them to pick up their families and relocate.